hands or verbal aye. All present in favor, none opposed.
Okay.
Okay, so this is the time where I would normally call a motion to open the public comment period. However, I am aware that the only folks present from the public is the applicant, but you have an application before us this evening, correct? I suppose. Yes and no? Yes and no?
Yes.
Maybe, great.
Okay.
So, the public comment time is a time for public to comment. That's the name. On anything that is before the board this evening. Obviously, you have something before the board that we're going to be discussing. So if you want to add additional details before we actually discuss the application itself, you're welcome to at this time. Otherwise, I would recommend waiting until we.
Yeah, I mean, I have nothing to add other than what I submitted, so
Okay.
on top of that.
And we do have all your submissions.
Happy to have you bring up the item and do it all that happens.
Excellent. With that being stated, I'm going to motion to open and close and not even acknowledge the public comment section of the meeting. Seconded by Alex, all in favor, verbal aye or show of hands, all present in favor of opening and closing the public comment section of the meeting. So under new business, on the agenda, if the board let us backtrack on my feeling. I have a good speaking voice. I apologize. Please all join and rise. Join me for the pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you very much. Thanks. Okay. Present this evening, we have the chair, Joshua, Karen Snyder. Okay. Karen, with a K as well. And Alex Meyer.
With an A.
Absent, Kristen Freeman, Oren Chance, and obviously, as we will discuss this evening, member Andrew Shapiro has submitted an official resolution. So moving into first order of business on the agenda, we do have listed an application that we received from Mr. Alexander Perfect at 37 Main Street, roughly referencing solar panels in the historic district on the roof. I have received communication from the applicant that they desire to have us table this application until next month, as they are not able to attend this meeting and are very adamant that they are here for the entire process to present the application. Just I double checked twice that this is what they desired and explained that pushing it back to July would then push it back probably to a September meeting, because we are not meeting in August. I said, if you want to get this moving faster, maybe just have somebody come who might be able to talk to us. But very adamant that they wanted to push back and present it at the July meeting. So I understand I did not send that email to the rest of the board members. You'll just have to take my word for it this evening, but I will forward it to you. And I did kind of like fired off in the last few days. So I would like to make a motion that we table the application for 37 Main Street till the July meeting. So, second by Alex. All in favor, verbal aye or show of hands. All present in favor, none opposed. Okay. So we will table the application for 37 Main Street solar panels in the historic district till the July meeting. Secondly, we have the application for Kreisberg at 64 Muse Road, West Hurley. This, I believe, after reviewing it, is an appeal of the CEO's determination. There is issues with drainage from a side property relating to work that was done along a driveway and stormwater that is now impacting the next door neighbors, next door parcels, property. So at this time, you are welcome to address the board and present this application. We do have, if I may query the board, has everybody had a chance to review the submissions made by the applicant?
I also have all of those things if you would like for me to bring up any of these.
Yeah, anything that you have submitted, we have here. I know you have a bunch of videos.
Yeah, and
I watched them all.
I'm okay if the board has reviewed it. There's nothing really I can say. I put it in the narrative. I provided the exhibits. It walks you through everything. I'm not sure. I mean, this is, evidence showing the path of the water. This is just this past January 10th. We had a big storm, a snowstorm, and ended in a rainstorm, and water came across right where you see the snow washed away and is running down my driveway. So that's originating from the ditch, that the 460-foot long ditch that is parallel along the driveway. The water, after torrential, a couple hours of good rainfall, it comes flowing down. And there's other pictures showing that gully. It comes down that gully at a pretty good rate, and it doesn't know to make a right-hand turn. It just goes the path of least resistance, which is straight ahead, crossing the property boundary onto my property.
Well, there are maps you submitted of the location of the two driveways, proximity to each other, and where the ditch is. Yeah, that's the one that I was.
Pretty accurate. I mean, my driveway's not shown on the Google map, but I've approximated its location.
So the videos that you presented, where the red line is, and there's the hook to the, I will assume, the southern end. You are like standing at that southern end of the red hook and looking across.
The distance between the two, is that what you're asking? I'm sorry.
Well, I'm just referencing where you're, for the board, referencing where you're standing taking the video.
Yes, I would say I'm standing basically where the two lines come closest to us.
Yes.
We can use the laser pointer if you would like.
Yep. So you're probably right here.
That's fair.
And you're looking across here.
Correct.
And looking up from water that is coming down here, coming in. If I thought I caught a culvert pipe, maybe it's like in the vicinity here.
There's nothing, there's
No
nothing
culvert pipe, it just kind of comes down this ditch and then runs across your driveway.
Washes away my cover. So we've been there 20 years. We've done driveway repairs 3 times. And we're getting ready to do it again, but I want to make sure this issue gets resolved before we spend money fixing the driveway just to have it wash out again next time this occurs. And it's really a question of whose responsibility it is to address it. And my contention is it's the neighbor, because the issue, and I believe they're in violation of zoning law 210-21, which may or may not apply to this.
Do you provide a case?
Sorry?
And you provide a case?
Yes. Well, that's, yes, which I think the zoning code was put in place to kind of codify the appellate case which addresses this. So I think that's basically it. Resolution would be just a letter from the town stating that the neighbors in violation of that code. For me, that's a resolution.
Okay. And as this is an appeal of the zoning enforcement officer's determination, I would like to invite Mr. Conmos to share any thoughts that he had on his determination on this matter.
Yeah, did you receive the addendum to Harold Castellanos, the original letter of Mr. Kreisberg? I was pretty certain I emailed it to you.
Well, if it was not contained in
Wasn't in my,
the application here or what was forwarded to us, if I got it, it was lost in.
Well, Harold and I discussed this at length. Harold is stormwater management officer. He was designated by the town board, I believe, in March as a storm, and that's, by local law. So Glenn did site 21021, which is entitled excavations. That's a subsection of the zoning. So I did cut paste that in the letter. Sorry, you didn't get any proposed excavation adversely affecting natural drainage or structural safety of adjoining buildings or land shall be prohibited. Excavation shall not create any noxious or injurious substance or condition or cause public hazard. So basically, the way I clarified Harold's determination, no excavation was proposed or documented, no construction was alleged, no permit was issued or required. 2021 written correspondence from the resident of the offending property is that 3 years prior, 2018, routine periodic maintenance of driveway was performed that included cleaning out ditches and crowning the eroded driveway, hence the determination that there's no violation of 21021. It goes on and cites the stormwater, chapter 168, stormwater management, erosion, sediment control. So ultimately, the excavation portion, there was no evidence submitted and there was no correspondence stating that any excavation was done. Cleaning out ditches doesn't constitute an excavation, even if they use a machine for its routine maintenance.
So I don't have to.
You're referencing that initial application by the
He actually,
other property owner who was.
no, she responded to a complaint that one of my predecessors had. Glenn submitted, I believe, 3 different complaints.
You said some.
3 says, okay, yeah, I did let her, he submitted 1/20/2021, 10/20/2023, additional complaint on 8/23/2021, and an additional complaint on 4/24/24, which I actually had asked to resubmit. The office was in such disarray, the original complaints eventually were found, but they weren't to hand when Glenn originally came in the office. Hence, that's why there are 4 complaints of the same nature.
So what I
That
was.
was our reference in your
Just what I want to point out is that, when their driveway maintenance was performed, whatever that was, I don't have the exact dates. This was a 2-week, 10-day job, 10 working days. They were there putting in, 4-inch base, raising the bed up close to 3 feet and then putting cover on top. So, I don't know if it's an upgrade or it's periodic maintenance, but it took 2 weeks and, it was a lot of work. And, as far as I know, they didn't apply for any permit to do it. I don't know if it's necessary for them to do it or not, but, I think if they had, there would have been some oversight that may have caught this and seen that, oh, this isn't a good design. The contractor who did the work, at the time I did talk to him about it, because 2 weeks of them working in my driveway, I noticed what was going on, and I saw that they were upgrading it and raising the bed, and that the ditch was now very prominent and running right towards my property. So I expressed my concern, and they said they would bring it up with the homeowner so that they were there. And then there was no other interaction until with Pete Humphreys and the neighbor and myself in our driveway, trying to mediate the situation.
So you say you've been there 20 years
Yes,
and the driveway is going on its 4th repair.
yes, our driveway, yes.
And those 4 repairs have all happened in what time frame?
Well, none have happened, or actually, one has gone on since they did their upgrade. Before the maintenance was done on their driveway, there was no issue with water coming across. It never happened in 15 years. And then once they did the upgrade, that's when the issue began and the water started. I would have to go back to my records and see when checks were written for the excavator and the material to be delivered. So, we were there. I mean, every guy who does the upgrade says it'll last you about 5 years once you've done some repairs. And every time we've done repairs, we've improved the grading and we kind of, made it so it's going to be less mitigation needed going down the road. Metaphorically, sorry for the pun there, but it's, the situation is now is that the road is deteriorated to a point that it's difficult to get up and down. I don't know that services would make it up there. And when it's in good repair, it's not an issue. You can get up and down it, without it. My driveway has Paul can attest, it's a bear of a driveway, like a lot of driveways in our area. And it's got its own issues, but they don't need to be exasperated and contributed to by this problem with the neighbors' water coming across and washing out our gutter. So that's, again, I know I'm not really in the hearing making the case, but this is what I'll say if we have to have a back and forth with that.
Excellent.
One question, has an application, complete application been submitted? Or-
Yeah, that's the application.
So we do have a complete application. However, I know there was discussion about the pricing. Attached to the application as a appeal to determination. Our board has absolutely no ability to change pricing, determine whether to award. So that is what it is. So to proceed, we would need.
We did your checks.
Oh, you got checks now? Okay.
Yeah, I paid $750 this evening, which doesn't feel good to do in this circumstance. And I will look for a way to get that back in the future, whatever my recourse is. But, I understand the board has rules and everything, public has to abide by them.
And if I may clarify, what you were discussing before, code enforcement officer, about the work done on the adjacent property, was that it did not need some type of permit because they were.
Right, it didn't need, she didn't need a permit to do what was routine maintenance.
Which is, to my understanding, you did say that that was part of your complaint, is that there maybe was not town oversight on the project.
I don't know that I mentioned that in my complaint at all. I just, feel that if they had, again, they live high up on the mountain. It's not like you could see when they're doing their road work or not doing the road work, or doing building projects or anything. But when they put in the upgrade, and I consider it an upgrade because something happened after they did that work that wasn't happening before that work. So I attribute it to the maintenance, the upgrade, the changes they made with the heavy equipment that was there for 2 weeks. It wasn't a couple of guys with shovels, it was excavators. So in my mind, it met the threshold for the zoning law of no excavations having a negative impact on the neighbor's property or an adverse impact. So, yeah, I mean, that's fill out the form, put in the complaint, letting it run its course and hoping for the right outcome.
Does the flooding happen every time after it rains?
Not every time. It has to be a torrential rain, a prolonged rain,
Okay,
so that gully fills up with water running off of their driveway. And it's an overload for what is designed. It's not designed properly to take that amount of stormwater runoff at all at once, and it is, they did cite, or Harold did cite on the phone call when he explained to me that the finding was not in my favor, that there was something called the common enemy rule, which I had never heard of, which is that every homeowner has the right to deal with common enemy, which is water. But if you read the common enemy rule, it applies to the diffusion of surface. And in the appellate decisions that I cited, they specifically, in 3 different cases in the appellate court from 1881 through current history, have found that you cannot create channels or ditches and gather the water into channels or ditches to have it directed at a neighbor's property to their detriment. So that's kind of textbook of what I see happening here. I think that the town zoning law makes sense because it codifies the state appellate court's decisions regarding this type of stormwater damage that can happen. And I just hope that the board sees that and their wisdom overrules the code enforcement officer.
I did see that in your submissions. Yeah. And I was completely unaware of the comment. So now I have a new rabbit hole.
Harold has discussed that. Look, private. I don't have the application. I can't access the application. So basically, at some point, you're going to have to allow me to access it. So I can look. But what it sounds to me is this is an issue between private property owners. I'm not quite sure what determination is really being appealed.
That,
haven't heard
he
anything.
said there's a violation of 21021.
Yeah.
And the file says there is not.
They said there's no,
Yeah,
negligence
evidence
of
of
an intent.
excavation, there was excavation done there. So that would be basically a determination, so there'd have to be something for them to see whether excavation was done, but it sounds like your actual issue is vis-a-vis the private property. Because it's not like the town has done so. So aside from, them overturning and saying, yeah, maybe
Well,
there's evidence now that the private property owner did excavate and that he could cite them for violating the zoning law. That would be the town citing them for violating the zoning law. The town can't give you any kind of relief vis-a-vis the property.
I know, I realized that all, there was a letter saying that the neighbor violated the code. If you go to the Google file, there's a new document I added there because just in the last 2 weeks, a road maintenance.
Yeah, yeah, I'm trying to.
You see something in there that says,
That's your.
Yeah, so if you can just give me access to anything that you guys put on.
did you see that?
So one question I would have is, what is the date that Paul's determination was made? And it's
CEO, which you never got, it's different lot.
Where's he live?
60 Miss Road, it's just below me.
Okay. my two thoughts on this report is,
Somewhere in there,
The
there should be
applicant
something
made a
that says
case
road maintenance
that-
agreement.
he is trying to appeal the decision by the zoning board officer, so I think he's well within his right in that and proving it to us. Secondly, I just want to make sure that the time frame is within the criteria of appealing a determination.
Well, in fairness, Mr. Kreisberg, the office had been in disarray with Glenn's medical.
Certainly, I'm talking about the point when you made your determination. You have versus when he
What's
appealed it.
what's
30 days, correct?
he did, it was time because
Yeah,
Harold's,
We're
Oh, shit.
30 or 31 or something.
Harold's letter when that was, written on the 29th.
And I submitted my application on the 29th of the following month, like 30 days later, 28th and the 29th.
So then your time stamp approved in that
I
aspect as well.
handed it to Maggie right behind that wall, and she put a stamp on it. But there is a road maintenance agreement that wasn't in place, that is in place now. So the point of that being is if you scroll down, it might be in there, let's say RMA. Most recent thing that I put in there, so I don't know where it'll be. Nope. So the road maintenance agreement is between myself and a gentleman who I sold the lot to 10 years ago. Now, when I bought my land, it was 10 acres and it was subdivided into 2 lots at the time that I purchased it. And they required a road maintenance agreement at that time. Now, this road maintenance agreement was between me and myself because I hadn't sold the lot yet. And the town attorney at the time, Warwick,
Jack Elrock, yeah.
yeah. He had no use for road maintenance agreements for minor subdivisions. And he just, didn't really ever review this, so it never got filed. I sold the lot, a house has been built there. My neighbor and I put together a road maintenance agreement and submitted it. It's been notarized and submitted with the county. But the point is, the water that was coming across and washing away my driveway flows down and now is washing away a minor subdivision road that has a road maintenance agreement, which that didn't exist 2 weeks ago. So I think the town has a greater interest in it because the water does continue down from where it washes mine, my private road out, and ends up on the subdivision road, which is shared by 3 lots, one of which is occupied by who I sold the land to, Spencer Glove, and another which is vacant. So it's not just affecting me, it's actually affecting the subdivision.
Well, I think you've more than proven your substantiations of your request. Submitted documentation of why you're making this appeal and also your within the time frame. So to the board, I would have no problem accepting this application and scheduling for a public hearing, but I will entertain any discussion that we want to have on that matter right now.
So appeal is ZEO's decision. The ZEO's decision is very much rooted in the advice of the town appointed stormwater expert. Correct.
Well, he's appointed stormwater management officer. He's not an expert in it. I don't know that I'm an expert. I have both.
But did you write the determination or he wrote?
He wrote the determination, I wrote the supplement. And I had explained how you can't get this common enemy law and shit, that's private sector, we have nothing to do with, we stated municipal code, state code, nothing else. He was unaware of that.
So then does that change our situation at we're not really appealing the CEO's determination, we're appealing the determination of the town appointed stormwater.
No, he has authority
Well,
to make that.
ultimately
determination.
came from
Yeah.
polls. Yeah. Correct.
Well, yeah, I'm the zoning administrator. It's technically the same. He's municipal code officer. So the zoning is one chapter of the municipal code. So technically, yes, you could say ZEO. I'm appointed ZEO. The language in the zoning is somewhat convoluted. So you can say ZEO. I don't
Yeah,
see
I
it
would
from the
say
department.
it's not a legal issue who made the determination. But it is something this is the first time I'm actually being able to access some of the documents. And we'll definitely have to narrow down exactly what the issues that will be before the board. But it does sound like things were timely. So it is well within the board's jurisdiction to schedule this for a hearing. And, I would say
Chopped into the
review all the documents submitted, not only here, but if there's anything additional submitted by the building department between now and the next meeting. Make sure all of that is reviewed ahead of time, and for the public hearing, certain neighbors will be potentially notified. You can come back, make any additional arguments, reiterate some of the points that you made here today, and at that point, they have 62 days to make a determination. But oftentimes after they hear, everything, they'll make a determination at that time.
Do I have a motion? Whatever you want you like. Board members like. With an S.
Is there a motion to put the application? The next one.
Oh, this is
You don't have to make a determination, you can make it at the time you make a regular determination. But, you can say it's like,
I make a motion to accept the application as a type 2 seeker. Well, all right,
Here you go.
what else on
And-
that? And
Scheduled for public hearing
schedule it for public hearing.
on the date.
What's it?
It's the 11th.
July 11th at
At?
approximately
7:16, just in case my car breaks down. And I said that.
Well, if we say 7:05 technically, then we don't, if we start 7:16, everybody should be credit.
yes.
But I get you.
What,
7:05.
that's July 10th,
July
11th.
July 11th?
Is that the date of the public hearing?
Yeah.
Yes.
That would be the day that, yeah, it's our next second Thursday.
Second Thursday in July.
I will
Um,
notify all your
and-
neighbors.
As the attorney stated, joining property owners will be receiving a letter stating that, we're going to be discussing this issue.
Yeah, basically all the contiguous properties to mine.
These are the 250 feet within your property boundaries. Your property, I guess, would be. All right, and we have all checks necessary.
And then I mean, is this only second?
Alex
Oh,
did,
yeah.
and then
That would be.
all in favor?
Were you able to find, the road maintenance agreement in that folder, or is it not in that?
It wasn't in there.
And this is the folder that I gave you access to?
Yeah. It's not even, like.
If you want to resubmit it, I mean,
Yeah,
the
just-
public hearing time is really where we get down to the nitty.
Many,
We'll look at it.
And that agreement was just put into place when?
I'm sorry,
That roadway agreement was,
May 24th was filed and notarized from the county.
Okay, so I believe we have a second by member Myra. Motion by Kara. All in favor of scheduling this for the public hearing at the July meeting, show of hands, verbal aye. All present in favor, none opposed. We will be seeing you next month. Moving on.
And you just.
Did I completely skip the
You just, yes, we expect them.
often,
Kaufman? I just jumped right.
Yeah, you did. So that's not the whole thing, but-
Well,
but
I'm allowed to amend the agenda. So,
you uploaded it?
he being not present, I figured it more
Yeah.
important to get to the people. There you go. That's my excuse.
Thanks, everyone.
thank you.
Thank you. Thank you
I'll
for
see you.
coming.
Good night.
So under old business, we do have the Kaufman application, which is for the addition to the trailer park, I guess. Correct. Trailer park.
Yep.
Which is situated on 22.2 acres with an allowance of 1 unit per 0.965 acres. They are seeking to add an additional 5 units. To which we tabled this application last month because we didn't have the percentage of variance needed for additional lot coverage, lot exceedance. What is that?
Yeah, we needed the area amount for the area variance.
And we do have that,
Right,
yeah, I think we just brought this up before, so the additional difference is 0.175 acres per dwelling unit.
Do you know this property?
Yes,
Now, he's got a lot on one side of the road and then a lot on the other side of the road.
that's correct.
So the lot that on the, if you're going down the road where he wants to put more trailers, that's on the right side.
Yes.
Now, is there anything? I didn't see any other
There's nothing.
trailers on the left
The
side.
other portion of the lot is undeveloped.
Right, so we're saying that the lot is 22 acres,
Mhm.
however, it's split by a road. And the existing trailers are really only on about 10.5 acres. Does that make any
That's
kind of
probably about right.
difference?
Never calculated there, but that's probably about right. Karen, unfortunately, the file was misplaced today. I had it in hand and it's misplaced, or I would break the map out.
I saw the map and it said like 10.4, yeah.
I think I actually read it.
And I did a little site visit.
Mhm.
So is where he wants to put the additional 5, is that like where he has the dumpster up there?
I don't know where the dumpster is. If you loop
Here.
about 3/4 of the way around,
Yeah.
there's an area that's sort of undeveloped on the 10.5 acres.
Right.
It's not a bad little spot. He's got to meet the threshold for spacing them out and parking and such, but he could do it. It's sort of a little secluded area within the 10.5 acres.
I'm sort of interested in like how big that area is, because when I went to look at it, it seemed a little small for 5, but I could be mistaken.
There it is, specific to one.
Did you go all the
I
way
met him,
to the
I met him
property?
there like
I didn't know, I
November.
had shorts on, so I didn't want to walk in the weeds, the ticks, but,
Here, I have the maps.
Yeah, the way you described it last time was that they were, you have to go in and then in the back part of the wall.
way in the back.
Yes, that's correct. That's what I'm saying. You loop around almost like to the J, and that's.
Yeah.
Place.
I'm just wondering if it was behind the dumpster or like in the area of the dumpster, because he said it was clear, but I didn't really see a lot of cleared land there. I mean, there were a lot of trees and,
Well, there are trees. I mean, I think what he meant by clear, there just was areas with limited undergrowth, just like tall weeds. That's,
Okay.
I think, what he was referring to.
because there are a couple of significant trees.
Oh, yeah. I don't think it's his intention to remove any trees that aren't necessary to do the 5 units.
I should,
If I'm not mistaken, if he receives this variance, then he's on the plan for it, correct?
Right.
Yeah.
Pre-existing use, I'm not setting it to the plan board. The last one was controversy about, I withdrew it and Bonnie agreed with me. This is a continuation of an existing non-conforming use. Just
What
not going to play.
What about like sewer, water, all that?
That's all under the auspices of my office. They can build a new house on 1,000 acres, you got a health department approval.
And I did ask him about, Department of Health, like,
Because there's a
water
threshold that's
boards,
passed.
he's like, I'm already under the Department of Health and non-transient 25 unit. Water system,
What kind
which
of,
is surprising.
what kind of sewer system does like a trailer park do trailers?
This particular one,
Yeah,
individual systems.
okay.
The last one that went in and upgraded was really extraordinary. It was about 20 years ago, and I inspected it with the health department. It's one of these, I think, anaerobic systems, and it was smaller than the seating area. It was remarkable. I've seen two go in like that, one in a commercial building, fiber flame up in Sargents. And this one, and to the extent of my knowledge, neither failed.
So each trailer has its own,
Correct.
However, keep in mind that, the zoning board of appeals, the numbers and we don't, I don't think it's within our purview to get into taxing on each field. That's false.
I'm just here to answer questions. Yeah.
just curious.
Well, I know the applicant is not here, however, he was here last month to present what he wanted us to do, and we kind of held this up just on the strip thing of, what is it? Additional 0.175 additional acres. What was that number?
Here for that.
0.965?
That was the initial, that was the
that's the
initial one.
Yeah.
He needs a variance of 0.175 acres per dwelling unit. Additional, or less, we're removing 0.175 acres, correct?
Well, to maintain the density, you can't do it. In order to maintain the density, he would need 38,115 square feet. So that's the amount of area you would have to, that's the
For him
request.
to have,
38, that almost an acre.
all right. I'm just trying to narrow down what specifically the variance is. What is,
That's request, that would be.
It's a 0.175, right?
yes, the language.
0.175 acres per dwelling unit.
Is the variance.
That's the difference.
Yeah,
So
so
less than that, so we need to remove the
No,
1.175 from
He's
the
requesting.
0.978.
It needs 978. But in order for him to add 5 more, it turns it into 0.803, which is a 1.175 variance.
Yeah. So that times 5
Just trying to
became the total of 38,000. It's unusual. I had to think about it to come up with the numbers the right way. It's still not easy to, it's not straightforward.
What would happen if he wanted to develop the whole other side of the road that's not, doesn't have any trailers on it right
They
now?
need a variance.
it's a total parcel.
Right,
So
right.
So now I'm gonna really confuse everybody.
So you gotta understand,
The initial application, I do not think states what is the variance being requested. So can we amend the application, say that
you guys can apply the variance. for whatever-
he needs a variance to make the single dwelling unit available for 0.803 acres per dwelling.
I would say that you're granting him a variance of 1.75 acres per dwelling for the 5 dwelling. Or I guess, wait, what's the total on that?
So that just runs with the 5 that are being added.
Because you don't want to keep it broad where then potentially that.
No, I don't think so. No, I think I'm.
I don't know, you're. the
So no,
tax-
that's right. The 1.175 acres per dwelling unit times 5 is 38,000 square feet.
So
Yeah, I
you're
just wanted
keeping,
to be
so, okay, so
specific
essentially you're
about it.
keeping all the dwelling units existing are still adhering to 0.97. And now we're granting a variance for
Specifically
five more
units.
to just be on 0.175.
No, I'm not really saying that. I'm just saying that the overall lot, the average lot area per dwelling unit is gonna be reduced because of
5.175 acres.
per
The
dwelling unit.
specific statutory language is 803 acres per unit, right?
That would be new. Yes, if we encompassed all of the units
Oh.
now, including the five, and we said, okay, now you're all grouped together. Now the new allowance is
The specific,
803.
okay, the specific language in the statute is 965 acres per dwelling unit.
Yep.
You are
Now
getting a
you want
variance of 0.75 acres per dwelling.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes,
So we have
That's
to,
the
but we have to
4 or
remove,
5.
we gotta remove the word five.
Yeah, let's just say.
Yes. The
Because
five has
that's-
nothing
It's
to do
based
with
on the
it.
parcel.
It's just the whole,
Five's
the whole
irrelevant.
spiel. So even if he wanted to come and add more after that, now he has to come and do that.
Because that number changes again.
Right.
Exactly.
well, you
So
might
that's what
say,
I'm
hey,
saying.
five's
He
too
needs a
many.
variance to
You know, do
reduce
three, you know?
his
so-
lot coverage by 0.175 acres. Concur?
Yes.
All right, concur?
Yep.
See you, concur? There it is.
Okay, so what does Rod have to do?
What does-
And what am I writing? It's a note.
Well, first
So-
you guys should go through the area variance. You are going to consider.
So we're just accepting the application and scheduling for a public hearing at this point. We're not even making it. We're just accepting it. And this is why I held it up, because I wanted to have this exact language.
What is the scalable
It
impact
will be gonna.
of
We haven't
this,
made the decision.
of, let's say we voted for this, what's the scalable impact on a smaller scale? So what does that work out to be? If you take that math and somebody comes before us and says, I want to put 2 trailers on an acre and a half, does the math work out to be the same? And are we creating a,
There's
They
a
have to
difference.
put their
Well,
trailers
yeah,
on
yeah,
acre
yeah.
1.606 acres.
but it's a 22
This
acre
math
lot?
does
Now, Alex, there's several things. It's a good question. There's several things. One is it's a vacant lot and they propose that in this area, they have to have 2.5 acres per dwelling unit. So in order to place 2 in there, they'd have to have 5 acres. And if they didn't have the 5 acres, I would deny it, and they would have the option of coming here, you know, but again, that would be individual dwelling. This is a park. It's regulated differently.
Got it, okay. So that was the question I was getting at.
And the final thing is,
Could somebody with a regular parcel say, hey, you guys just
Now
said
you're
it was
thinking
okay
down
to
the line,
do,
you're going-
yeah, because we set precedent, right? So I didn't
But
want,
the use is
Now,
different.
my question is, what's the previous nonconformity?
well, trail parks,
Is just the use, is it non-conforming?
no, it's not conforming because, they're way undersized to begin with. You'd have to have 2.5 acres per dwelling unit.
Oh.
They got, whatever.
Right, total one.
Yeah,
Or
so
nine.
they're undersized already. They're under an acre per dwelling unit
and we're making it smaller.
and you have to have 2.5.
How long has this, trailer park been there?
I'm pretty sure since the early 60s.
Okay.
I mean, I'm just thinking to residential terms in the R1 district, and a
This is
house
this is
doesn't have to have an acre.
No,
Yeah, this is.
R1 doesn't allow trailers. R1 doesn't allow trailers. This is a 2.5,
Well,
which does allow, a 2.5 and a 4 allows.
Well, either way, we're entertained. Does anybody have any, discussion on this matter before I make a motion?
Not that we did not discuss.
All right, so I'm gonna say that the variance that we're dealing with is to allow the lot coverage to be reduced by 0.175 acres to per dwelling unit to 0.803 acres per dwelling unit. That's the variance that we will be granting, or not granting, or discussing.
That's accurate.
Okay, so with that said, I would like to say that we make a motion to schedule so the type 2 seeker action and schedule it for, accept the application. We have the checks there. Okay, and schedule it for a public hearing on July 14th. No,
11th.
today, 11th.
So I make a motion to accept the application, schedule the public hearing for July 11th at approximately 7:15 p.m. and classify it as a type 2 action. Type 2 seeker action.
And I think this was already addressed. We can accept an application even though it technically isn't one that states this request.
We can amend it as we see fit. And I think
Do we
he's
have to
here to like,
specify-
basically, he's just like,
Do we have to specify that we're accepting a to be amended application, or can we just say an application even though that application doesn't physically exist in its written form?
I think that's it. The whole point was so that, our CEO could come up with that and explain to us, this is exactly the wording for it. And that's pretty much what he did. So that supplements the application. Or
So we don't-
accepting
we
it
don't
as
have to
a
add
completed
that.
application. Normally he would say, here's what the variance that you need. Give it to them and they put it on the application and then they see that variance.
yeah, we have,
Who's second?
I'll second.
all in favor, verbal or show of hands, all present in favor and opposed. And then that. All right, we're through the meat of it. You're gonna take minutes, I'm gonna move them right to the end. It's Chairman's that's important.
They also have the one and this resume.
We'll get there. ZTF report kind of runs with, what has been placed under other business. The town board has deferred to us to review the newly proposed local cannabis law. Was that this link?
Yes, here I-
Other business, okay. I got a brief chance to look at it. We don't have to make any decisions on this tonight. I just wanted to bring it up to everybody's attention and say it's before us. And they want any feedback from us. Toot sweet, apparently. Is there a time frame on this? Or it's just the cannabis, the newly proposed cannabis.
No, but it's,
They're just referencing it to us.
yeah, I don't think they have a definite timeline, just wanted you
All
guys
right,
to
so
review,
between
but your-
Now and the next meeting, everybody wants to take a look at this. There is a link to it on the drive that was on the minutes, but, we can.
This is just a scaled down version where the municipalities were given the right to opt in and opt out of the already passed New York state law.
I believe Town Mark Hurley already opted in. And now they actually have
My email has one.
I
people
know.
coming before us.
Have
And
this.
so now it's like they
But
got,
early failed to make a recommendation.
yes, exactly.
For like
They
reach out.
opted in and then they just left it flat on the table at that. Just cool with me. But, now they've proposed something and they sent it out, I believe, to the planning board and to our board. And they just want us to say, look at it and say, want to make any
If
changes?
there's any feedback that you want to provide,
We can say,
eventually it's
yeah,
gonna go
looks good
before
to
the
me.
town board.
And
And
it's
they're
whatever you
gonna
want to
have
do.
public hearings, consider any feedback from the board as well as the public. And then, either pass it as written, pass it with changes.
So just take a gander on it next month on a starry night. And
Wait, you're resending.
decide if you have. any decision.
Otherwise, this week's so.
Oh, wait, can you change my email? Don't use Kara L. Snyder.
You have a town level, we want
It's
to-
her.
I have Kara L. Snyder.
All right, I'm gonna just.
Seth, y'all keep emailing
No,
me.
sorry. I have
For your Hudson Valley weather.
email.
Kara
I didn't even know we had her email.
dot Hurley.
Nobody has, unless
I
you
just made one from
Yeah.
Gmail, like
Oh.
Karen Gill for
I don't care.
gmail.com.
You know,
I just always use your Hudson Valley weather.
I'm fine with it.
don't do it. If there's a FOIL request, it'll be a nightmare.
Are you Mr. Hudson Valley Weatherman? Oh, wow.
Oh my God,
Oh,
really?
that's amazing.
This is Hudson Valley weather. Sitting with you.
Oh, you know that's so, that's great.
You're
Right,
famous.
right?
My husband, I took a picture of it because my husband.
Oh, does he? That's awesome.
It's so great.
I always run into random people.
Probably someone that gets it right.
I tried on Radio Kingston shouted you out. When
Who did?
I
Oh,
I was at 3 o'clock. She's like, I just love Hudson Valley. I will always do Hudson Valley weather. It's, I was like, yeah. Should be recording this.
we try our best. It's the weather.
Okay, so Also, the ZTF apparently only consists of me and Peter Knight at the moment. And I think I'm gonna resign myself from it. So I don't know, the ZTF really exists after this month. That's the ZTF report.
Does it need to exist?
I said all my piece in one meeting of what I wanted to say, and, you know, maybe I'll come up with some more stuff after a couple of years, but. Yeah. Writing these love notes or something.
Maybe Andrew or something.
I still a job for professionals. It's really not a job for lay people, even me. I mean, I don't want to be involved.
Correspondence, done. Other
Makes
business to review, well, we went through the, canvas law, placards.
We have to have
Or
three.
do we have to reach out to them?
This placards, these ones?
Those types, yeah.
Yeah.
I'll come up with an alias if it means getting you actual
Yeah,
plaque. I'll
so-
take it for the team.
They want, because they have to have a certain amount in order to send it out. So
Okay.
we have Liston, Karen, and me now, after, once everything is, she's sworn in
And
and
we might have
everything.
another person come down.
And we have, so we have
Does
another
Paul
person coming
have
in.
one?
Paul has
Yes.
one.
Stretch it out.
But they have to order a certain amount, so they can't just order one.
All right.
Paul's is sort of like half and half there.
It was just a
Like,
silly question I had. We don't have to do.
I think they pasted it over Glenn, is what it is, so.
Oh,
I
so
think we
so
should probably call these one.
Paul needs one. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's pieced together.
Okay, I'll get one for you. That's
That looks
three.
like a hostage letter.
Okay, oaths. Karen showed up and took her oath. She took it seriously. Me and Oren have done nothing probably. I know I have. I'll
You
get
have
there.
others? Never do.
You probably had to do one when you very first joined. I have to do one every year. And then every time your term is renewed, I have to do it. If you didn't do it, I wouldn't. I would think it would be an idiot. Well, it's been so sloppy because people are coming and going off the board so much that like that, there's like 5 board members, if somebody gets a 5-year term, then like, yeah, well, I don't know, it's a hot mess.
If
Don't
you
even
come
let
in
your-
and you're filling out a term that has not been completed, basically, so let's say you only did half of it, you basically fill the other half, and you have to be reappointed for the full.
Oh, that's okay.
I'm trying.
I don't.
Did I fill in? I filled in.
You
for Abby.
may, yes, you filled in Abby, so you should have a full 7-year term. However, if the board did not have 7 members at that time, I believe they only appointed them for however many members of the board that worked. So if Abby left and we only had like 6 members, then you would have maybe 6 members. or something like that.
Whatever.
I can
did
swear
it.
to it, yeah,
But
You're expired in 2028.
It's right around the corner. What's mine?
Good, Alex, like 2037.
That was yesterday. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, it doesn't have to come with
2026.
2026?
Oh, 2026. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, we have one for it.
But,
Wow.
We done.
okay, so, next, membership items. Andrew Shapiro, we did receive the official resignation email from him, short and sweet and to the point. I forwarded it to the town attorney, the supervisor, and our board liaison, and I believe they did it.
Yeah, the town board did have a brief discussion on it at our general meeting on Tuesday. The town board, would in all likelihood be, willing to act on it if they get something ready from, your board, basically, if you have any recommendations for any new appointments. So if you want to discuss that tonight, feel free to. And,
So we do have an application before us. I don't know that, Karen, you said that you had received it, right? You had-
I think you gave it to us in the last meeting.
Well, there was a
I
brief
thought it was
discussion
either given
last
to us or emailed to us, but I know I have a copy of it.
You
Yeah,
gave it to
there's-
us, this is not my paper.
Yeah. I guess.
Alex, you need one?
This,
Which one, what is it?
Here.
lady
Yeah.
seems very well
Oh, yeah,
qualified.
I looked at it last one, but we never covered it.
Yeah, because we technically didn't have a spot to fill. So she seems very qualified for the position. Stephanie Michelle Whitten.
That's Mitchell Cohen's wife, Mitchell's on this.
Oh, wait.
Yes, he's been.
Okay, I didn't know if you were aware of that.
So
You also
if there
are
were
aware,
ever an application coming from the planning board.
Oh, that
down
was-
here, she would need to recuse herself.
Recuse
and
herself.
not participate.
Even though Mitch is an alternate now.
Doesn't
Doesn't
matter, he's a member of the planning board, that's an alternate, she would need to recuse herself. But I would hope that we're not getting too many applications.
Oh, yeah.
my clerk resigned too, she's, where papers in.
I mean,
What's in the? You, like your assistant in the office?
he was on the zoning board once.
She didn't even need negotiations Monday, I asked her how it went, she said, not well. An hour later, she resigned.
He came in here, he never said a word, he just sat here, barely raised his hand. and he was turning around and left.
Who?
Speaking under my breath.
Secret full name. So you guys don't have to discuss this, you guys can review it, but if you do want to discuss it and provide the town board would be willing to entertain any appointments at the next meeting. But, if you guys aren't in a rush, take your time.
More than qualified.
Yeah.
More than qualified. Now, I would love to see a full 7-person board that actually.
Man, there could be some, you could have some, based on this resume, there could be some legal sparring.
Yeah.
I feel like watching
I think-
Suits.
This says future chairperson written all over it.
Or make it come from the vice chair.
Yeah.
I am more than pleased with this appointment, other than the question of, do we suspect there would be, can't very future, but if we suspect there would be a significant, not more, a significantly higher number of cases.
I've only ever had one single instance of something coming from the planning board that would be like an issue, and that is the last 2 months,
Okay,
as we saw.
my,
If
In my
you guys
7
want, you guys can
years.
always have, invite her to the next board meeting, and you guys can talk to her, ask her questions. If you have concerns regarding that, and, then provide a recommendation after the next board meeting.
I think that's a good idea. I think it's always
You
good
did that.
to speak
You
to
can.
people.
That's how I got on the board. Came in at a couple meetings before you.
Yeah.
yep.
All right, so, everybody's in receipt of her, resume.
I'm in
And
favor of,
there's a letter of intent.
I'm in favor of a meet and greet. Let's do that.
And yeah, I guess we'll reach out and say, come to our next meeting and, say what's up.
Next month, but reach out to her.
Next ZBA meeting will be held on July 11th, 2024. Submission deadline is June 27th. Do I have a motion to adjourn unless there's anything further to be discussed by the board that I might explain?
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Do I have a second? Second, by Kat. All in favor to adjourn? All present in favor to adjourn?
Now, Karen.
All present in favor and opposed? Meeting is over.
That's just really
I gotta start, I made a point today, but I'm looking at it, I'm gonna start using that yet. For things other than, stop it, people. Did record this meeting.
What?
Not only because I forgot, it's